Tom sat alone in the cold corner of the council hall on Zoran Prime. Around him, powerful alien leaders discussed a dangerous mission. Their voices were sharp, and their faces showed no care. The humans were the newest species in the Alliance. They were weak, small in number, and had little power. The others did not respect them. The council leader, a tall silver-skinned alien named Grul, stood and spoke loud. "We must send someone to Grelth. We need data from the surface. No machine works there. Only living beings can survive long enough to record anything." Another alien with red scales asked, "Who would go? That planet is wild. It eats people." No one returns. There was silence in the hall. No one volunteered. Every race stayed quiet. Then Grul turned to Tom. "Human, you do not speak much. Would you go?" All eyes turned to him. They expected fear. They expected excuses. But Tom stood and nodded once. "Yes, I will go." A short laugh moved around the room. Some aliens looked at each other with smirks. They thought he did not understand the danger. They believed he would die fast. The mission was not real to them. It was a way to get rid of a human without starting trouble. Tom knew. But he said nothing. He packed his bag himself. He took only what he needed: a field kit, a scanner, a small energy stove, a blanket, one book, and a round metal case full of recording chips. He looked once at Earth's flag printed on his sleeve. Then he entered the small drop ship alone. The ship shook as it entered Grelth's sky. The clouds were dark purple. Rain hit the window like metal. A loud alarm beeped inside. Wind pulled the ship in every direction. Tom held tight. The computer screamed, "System failure. Crash expected." Tom's hands moved fast. He used emergency controls. He aimed for a flat area near a river. The ship fell hard, but he stayed calm. He hit the ground with a loud thud. Lights turned off. Smoke filled the small cabin. But he was alive. Tom pushed the door open. The air was thick and wet. The trees were taller than buildings. The sky was never still. Lightning flashed even when there was no storm. The ground moved under his feet. He heard strange sounds all around: growls, cracks, distant roars. He stood in silence. Then he whispered to himself, "Let's begin." He spent the first day building a shelter. He used parts from the ship. He made a roof from thick leaves and strong branches. He boiled water from the river. He wrote everything in his log. Day 1. Air has high pressure. Gravity is heavy. Creatures heard but not seen. By day 5, he had learned the pattern of the rain. It came every 3 hours. The rest of the time was hot. The insects glowed in the dark. Some trees changed color when touched. He walked carefully, never stepped in the same place twice. He left signs for himself. He mapped the land slowly. At night, he sat by his small fire. He read his book or cleaned his tools. The stars above Grelth were not the same as Earth's, but he stared at them anyway. They made him feel less alone. Then, on the 7th night, something changed. Tom was placing wood in the fire when he felt it. A presence, not seen, but there. He turned slowly. Eyes glowed in the shadows, big golden eyes, too high to be any normal animal. He froze. He did not run. He did not grab a weapon. He simply said, "I see you." The eyes stayed. Then they blinked. The shape behind them moved quietly through the trees. Tom saw a huge form. 4 legs, black fur, long tail, sharp teeth. But it did not growl. It did not come closer. Tom placed a piece of dry meat on the ground and stepped back. The beast sniffed the air, waited, then walked forward. It picked the meat and ate it slowly. Then it looked at Tom for a moment, turned, and disappeared into the woods. Tom sat back at the fire. He wrote in his log, "Something big came tonight. Did not attack. Watched me. Took food. I think it will return." He was right. Every night after that, the beast came, always from the trees, always silent. Some nights, it only watched. Some nights, it came closer. Tom gave it food but never touched it. He never gave it a name. Not yet. He spoke to it sometimes, told stories, talked about Earth. The beast listened. At least, it never ran away. Tom's days became routine. Study the land, record the weather, cook simple meals, clean gear, sleep. But every night, he waited for those golden eyes. It made the loneliness easier. One morning, Tom woke to strong wind. The sky was darker than usual. He stepped outside and looked up. A storm was coming. Not like before. Bigger. Louder. The kind that breaks trees. He worked fast. Tied his shelter tighter. Dug drains for water. Secured his tools. But while cutting a branch, the tree cracked. It fell too fast. Tom tried to run but slipped. The branch crashed onto his leg. He cried out in pain. He was stuck. Then, through the rain, he saw the golden eyes. The beast walked toward him slowly. It saw the branch. It saw Tom. Without a sound, it placed its massive paw under the branch and lifted. Tom pulled his leg free. He gasped, breathing hard. The beast dropped the wood. Tom looked at it. "Thank you." The beast walked away into the forest. Tom crawled back to his shelter. He cleaned the wound, wrapped it tight. Then he smiled, for the first time since he landed. He was not alone. Tom's leg hurt, but he didn't stop working. Every day on growth was a test. The sky never stayed clear for long. The air was thick and heavy. Even the ground made noise. But Tom had stayed alive. More than that, he had learned. He had been on the planet for over 30 days now. His shelter was strong. His supplies were stretched, but still enough. He had collected water in large leaf bowls and cleaned it with his filter. He hunted small animals using traps made from vines and wood. He had also started planting seeds from his food packs. But what mattered most was the creature. The one with golden eyes. Tom no longer feared it. In fact, he waited for it every night. It had saved his life once. It had not left a mark on him. It never showed anger or wildness when near him. Still, Tom remained careful. He never tried to touch it. He spoke gently, fed it, and gave it space. He had started calling it Shade. Shade was a massive creature, bigger than any wolf or lion from Earth. It had black fur that shone like oil when the firelight hit it. Its claws were long but silent. Its tail was thick and moved with purpose. Its teeth were sharp, but it never showed them in anger. Its golden eyes were deep, quiet, and alert. One evening, Tom sat by his fire. His leg had healed enough for him to walk. Shade arrived, as expected. It didn't take food this time. Instead, it sat down, facing the fire. Tom watched it closely. "You don't have to stay," Tom said softly. Shade didn't move. Its ears turned, listening to the sounds of the forest, but it stayed near Tom. That night, the two of them sat in silence while thunder rolled in the distance. Over the next weeks, something changed. Shade began to follow Tom in the day. Not close, but always nearby. When Tom walked to the river, Shade walked behind the trees. When Tom climbed a hill to study the sky, Shade waited at the bottom. When Tom went to sleep, Shade circled the shelter once, then disappeared into the dark. One morning, Tom found Shade sleeping near the shelter, curled under a tree. Its body blocked the wind. Tom didn't wake it. He simply smiled and began his day. He updated his log every evening. Day 46, Shade stays closer now. Watches when I collect water. Seems calm when I speak. No signs of danger. Day 52, saw Shade chase a snake away from camp. Didn't eat it, just pushed it far from the area. Day 60, Shade sat beside me during the rain. Didn't leave until the storm passed. Tom began to feel something he hadn't felt in weeks. Not just safety, not just comfort, but friendship, a silent understanding. He was not sure why Shade chose to stay, but he was thankful. One day, while collecting samples, Tom walked too far. He crossed into a rocky part of the forest. His scanner beeped. Something under the ground was moving. A loud growl came from behind the rocks. A second later, a large beast appeared. It was not Shade. This one was smaller but faster. Its skin was green with spikes. It hissed and ran toward Tom. He raised his stun device, but it jammed. He stepped back, tripped, and fell. The beast jumped, but then a loud roar shook the air. Shade burst through the trees and slammed into the green beast. The two monsters crashed into the rocks. Dust flew everywhere. The fight was fast and rough. Shade used its weight to push the other creature back. It bit down hard, forcing the enemy to run. When the dust cleared, Shade returned to Tom. It was breathing hard but unhurt. Tom sat up slowly, eyes wide. "You followed me," he whispered. Shade stood tall, looked around once, then lowered its head. It nudged Tom gently, as if checking if he was okay. Tom reached out, slowly. His hand touched Shade's head. The fur was warm and soft. Shade didn't pull away. It was the first time Tom had touched it. From that day, everything became different. Shade no longer came only at night. It stayed during the day. It walked beside Tom, not behind. It waited when Tom worked, sat when Tom studied. Sometimes, it even lay down close to the fire during rest. Tom trained it in simple ways, not with commands, but with signals. He raised his hand to stop. He pointed to move. He made soft clicks to call. Shade watched, learned, responded. They worked as a team now. When Tom needed to cross rivers, Shade helped. When heavy branches blocked the path, Shade pushed them. When dangerous animals came close, Shade stood between Tom and the danger. Tom began to speak more often, not just to his recorder, but to Shade. "You know," he said one evening, "they sent me here because they didn't think I'd live. They wanted me gone." Shade looked at him. No growl, just quiet listening. "But here I am, with you, on the worst planet they could find, and I'm still breathing." Shade blinked once and looked toward the forest, then back at Tom. Tom smiled. "I guess we make a good team." The fire crackled beside them. On day 75, Tom climbed the tallest hill near his shelter. Shade followed without a sound. At the top, they could see the wide land, rivers, trees, distant mountains, and the sky full of stars. Tom pulled out his recorder. "Message for the council," he said. "Still alive, still working, still learning. I've made contact with local life. No danger from it. In fact, I believe I've made a bond. We'll continue study. We'll wait for pickup." He looked at Shade. "Until then, I'm not alone." The sun rose behind the thick trees of Grelth. The sky was orange, but the air stayed cool. Tom stood beside a slow-moving stream, filling his water container. Behind him, just a few steps away, stood Shade. The bond between them had grown stronger. They no longer needed to speak or signal much. One look, one movement, and they understood each other. Tom had stopped calling Shade a beast in his logs. Now he called him companion. Shade followed Tom everywhere. He watched when Tom took samples from glowing plants. He stood guard when Tom rested. Even at night, when the forest came alive with strange sounds, Shade stayed close, watching the shadows. Tom had studied the creature carefully. He wrote in his notes, "Species unknown, four-legged predator, thick fur, high intelligence, calm behavior, no signs of wild attack, understands basic hand movement, listens to voice tone, protects me from threats." But Shade was not like an animal trained by force. He did not obey because of fear. He obeyed because of trust. That trust had grown between them, not from orders, but from respect. Tom remembered something his old teacher once said on Earth: to lead something truly wild, you must first walk beside it, not in front of it. Every day on Grelth proved that right. One day, while exploring deeper into the forest, Tom found a set of caves hidden behind a waterfall. He scanned the area. The ground had old bones, but no signs of danger now. It was quiet. Shade stepped into the cave first. He sniffed the air, then let out a soft sound. Tom followed. The cave was large, dry, and cool. It could be a better shelter. They cleaned the cave together. Tom made a fire near the entrance. He laid a mat on the ground. Shade rested on the stone floor, close enough to block the wind, far enough to give Tom space. Days passed. The cave became their home. Tom carved signs on the walls, a calendar, a map, notes. Shade sometimes sat and watched him draw, head tilted, eyes calm. At night, they listened to the distant roars of other creatures, but none dared come near the cave. Shade's scent, Tom guessed, was enough to keep them away. One morning, while collecting fruit, Tom heard a sound in the sky. it was not thunder. It was mechanical. He looked up and saw a small silver drone flying high. It circled twice, then vanished into the clouds. Shade growled low. Tom nodded. They're watching now. Back at the cave, Tom recorded a message. To the council, I saw your drone. I'm alive, stronger than before. I have bonded with a local creature. He has saved my life more than once. I suggest you study that. Tom sent the message using the signal post he had built near the cave. It took power from sunlight. It was slow, but it worked. 3 nights later, Tom woke suddenly. Shade stood at the cave mouth, growling. His ears were high, his body tense. Tom grabbed his light. What is it? A deep sound came from the woods. Footsteps, not animals. Heavy boots. Tom's heart beat fast. He stepped outside with Shade beside him. From the trees, 5 figures walked out. All wore black armor. All carried weapons. They had no flags or symbols. But Tom knew who they were. Not friends, not explorers, cleaners, sent by the council to hide mistakes. One of them spoke. Tom, you're alive. That's surprising. Tom didn't answer. Another step forward. We have orders, and the mission, bring the human back. Study the creature, kill if needed. Shade bared his teeth. Tom raised a hand. He's not a creature. He's not your lab rat. He's my friend. The man raised his weapon. Then, step aside. Tom shook his head. No. The air went still. Then the leader gave a signal. Before they could fire, Shade leaped. He moved faster than any of them expected. One soldier fell. Another dropped his weapon and ran. The others aimed but missed. Tom shouted, "Stop!" Shade paused. He looked at Tom. He waited. Tom turned to the last 2 soldiers standing. Leave. Now, you're not taking him. The men looked at each other. One nodded. This isn't worth it. They disappeared into the woods. Tom stood still. His breath was heavy. Shade came closer and stood beside him, silent again. After a moment, Tom knelt down and placed his hand on Shade's shoulder. I didn't ask for you to fight, but you did. For me. Shade blinked once. Tom updated his log that night. A group tried to remove me and take Shade. They failed. Shade protected me. He listened when I asked him to stop. He chose peace when he could have chosen blood. He is not a monster. He is my friend. If they send others, I will not run. I will not leave him. The next few days were quiet. The sky cleared. Birds returned to the trees. The forest seemed calm again. Tom and Shade went on with their routine. Explore, study, watch, rest. But now, they stayed closer to the cave. Not out of fear, but because they both knew the forest was no longer the only danger. Tom looked at the stars each night. He thought of Earth, of people who had never been here, who had never seen a creature like Shade, who had never felt the peace that came from true friendship. Between 2 different lives, he whispered, maybe one day, they'll understand. Beside him, Shade slept, breathing slow and deep. Growth was still wild, still dangerous. But Tom was not alone. It had been over 3 months since Tom was left on Growth. The planet still roared with storms, and strange creatures moved in the forests, but none of them came near the cave anymore. Not while Shade was there. The beast had become more than a protector. He was part of every day now, walking beside Tom like a shadow that never left. Tom had grown stronger. His body had changed. He moved with more balance. His eyes were sharp. His hands were steady. He didn't look like the same man who had arrived on Growth. He had become someone new, someone tougher, someone wiser. Then one morning, the sky changed. Tom was standing near the river with Shade when a bright light appeared above the trees. A deep sound filled the air, like thunder that didn't end. The clouds broke open, and a silver ship slowly came down. Shade growled but didn't move. Tom placed a hand on his shoulder. It's all right. I think they finally came. The ship landed in the wide field beyond the forest. Dust rose. Lights flashed around it. The door opened with a soft hiss. 3 people walked out. One was a tall woman with short black hair. Another was a young man holding a scanner. The third was a pilot with a badge from the Alliance. They stopped when they saw Tom. He didn't run. He stood still, Shade by his side. The woman stepped forward. Tom, we've come to bring you back. You've been here for 96 days. We received your signal. Tom nodded. And now you wanted to take me home. She looked at Shade. Her eyes widened. Is that the creature from your logs? Yes, Tom said. His name is Shade. The young man lifted his scanner. It's enormous, bigger than our file suggested. It's calm, but it's watching everything we do. It's not dangerous, Tom said. He protects me. He understands me. He helped me survive. The pilot spoke. We were told the mission was a failure, but you're alive. That means something. Tom crossed his arms. They sent me to die, and now they want me back. The woman looked unsure. Our orders were to recover you, if possible. Bring the creature too, for study. Tom's voice became firm. You can't take him. Shade took a step forward. His golden eyes locked on the group. The woman raised her hand. We don't want to fight, but the council will demand answers. They'll want to know how a human formed a bond with something like this. Tom looked at her calmly. Then tell them the truth. I didn't tame him. I didn't train him. I respected him, and he chose to stay. The woman was silent for a moment. Then she nodded slowly. We will take you both. No cages, no force. But we'll need to keep you away from the main population, for safety. Tom looked at Shade. The beast watched him with still eyes. I'll go, Tom said. But only if Shade comes freely, and only if you treat him with the same respect I do. The woman agreed. That night, Tom sat by the fire one last time. He looked around the forest that had become his home. He remembered the storms, the danger, the silence, and he remembered the night Shade saved him. Shade lay near the cave, resting. Tom walked over and sat beside him. We're leaving tomorrow, he said softly. They're taking us to the station, back to the others. But I don't know if it'll be better than this. Shade didn't move. Tom smiled. I'll stay with you, wherever we go. The next morning, Tom walked onto the ship with Shade at his side. The crew kept their distance. Some looked afraid. Others looked curious. No one spoke. The ship lifted into the sky. Tom looked through the window as growth grew smaller. The wild trees, the rivers, and the stormy clouds faded away. He didn't feel joy. He felt something else, something between sadness and hope. When the ship landed on Zoran Prime, the central space station of the Alliance, the news spread fast. The human had returned, and he had brought a beast with him. Crowds gathered at the viewing docks. People from many species stared in shock as Tom walked down the ramp with Shade beside him. The beast didn't growl. He didn't act wild. He moved with quiet steps, always. Looking around, guards stood ready but didn't act. A voice from the crowd whispered, "That's the one they sent to die." Another said, "How did he come back with that thing following him?" Tom heard them, but he kept walking. Inside the station, a room was prepared, clean, large, strong walls, but no cages. Shade paced the room once, then lay down calmly. Tom sat beside him. A message came from the council. They wanted to speak. Tom went alone. Shade stayed behind, watched by security cameras. Inside the council hall, Tom stood before the leaders of many worlds. Alien eyes watched him. Council leader girl stood. Tom, you were sent on a mission with very low survival chances. Yet here, you are, alive, and with something no one has ever tamed. Tom answered calmly. I was never meant to survive. But I did. Because of Shade. Girl's voice grew serious. Do you understand what this means? If humans can form bonds with such wild creatures, your species may not be weak after all. It changes your place in the Alliance. Tom nodded. Maybe now you'll see we are more than just numbers? Girl asked. Did you control the beast? Did you use force? No, Tom said. I listened. I learned. I showed kindness. That is what made him stay. The council members murmured. Another member, from the Varn species, said, You may not understand this, but many of us fear such a bond. It gives you power, and fear leads to control. Tom stood tall. You can fear what you don't understand, or you can ask questions. I won't hide Shade, and I won't leave him. Girl looked at him. Then stay. But under our eyes. For now. Tom bowed slightly. As long as you treat him right, I accept. Tom left the hall. He walked back to the room where Shade waited. When he entered, Shade stood and walked to him. Tom placed a hand on his side. We're not in the forest anymore. But I'm still with you. Always. Shade gave a soft sound. A sound Tom had come to know as peace. Tom walked slowly through the wide halls of Zoran Prime. His boots echoed on the polished floor. The walls were made of silver metal, clean and shining. The air was cool. Bright lights filled the ceiling. It was quiet, but he could feel eyes watching him from every side. Beside him, Shade walked like a shadow. The golden-eyed beast moved with calm steps. He didn't growl. He didn't roar. But no one dared come too close. Some guards placed hands on their weapons. Some backed away. Even the ones who didn't speak looked afraid. Tom didn't blame them. They had never seen anything like Shade. But what they didn't know was simple. Shade was not a monster. He was not a pet. He was not a tool. He was a friend. As they moved deeper into the station, they passed through the public levels. News of their arrival had already spread. Aliens of all kinds stood behind safety glass, watching. Some pointed. Others took pictures. Many whispered, "There's the human who survived growth. He came back with a creature. It obeys him. He didn't just survive. He returned stronger." Tom ignored the voices. Shade didn't react at all. They reached a special room. It was wide and bright. Tables, chairs, and lights were arranged for a meeting. A few reporters waited. So did scientists and low-level officers. From the council, a woman from the study team stepped forward. Her name was Rila. She had green skin, for eyes, and a calm voice. "Tom," she said kindly, "we won't harm him. We just want to observe. He can stay with you. No tests, no pain, just watching." Tom nodded. "That's all I ask." She looked at Shade. "Does he understand us?" "He understands more than you think," Tom said. "He doesn't need words. He watches. He listens. He chooses." Shade sat down beside Tom, eyes never leaving the people around them. A short man with orange skin spoke next. "How did you make him obey?" Tom looked at him with a straight face. "I didn't make him do anything. I respected him. I treated him like an equal. And he chose to stay." The room went quiet. Then someone asked, "What if others tried to control creatures like him? Will it work again?" Tom shook his head. "No. If someone tries to use fear or pain, they'll fail. These creatures are not tools. They feel, they remember, and they don't forget cruelty." The reporters wrote quickly. Some were broadcasting live. On every screen around the station, images of Tom and Shade were shown. They were becoming known, not just on Zoran Prime, but on other planets as well. In the following days, Tom and Shade stayed in a large chamber made just for them. The floor was covered with soft green mats. The walls had images of forests and rivers. There was food, water, and space to rest. Guards were placed outside, but not inside, every day. More people came to see them. Some were curious. Some wanted answers. Some just wanted to see the beast. But slowly, the fear began to change. One day, a young alien child came to the glass window. She looked scared at first, but Tom waved. Shade sat quietly beside him. After a while, the child smiled and waved back. Her mother pulled her away quickly. But the moment was seen by others. News spread. People began to talk. Maybe the creature isn't wild. Maybe the human really did bond with it. Maybe humans are more than just weak newcomers. One evening, Council Leader Girl called Tom for a private talk. They sat across a long table. Shade stayed behind the glass wall but kept his eyes on the door. Girl spoke first. "I didn't expect you to survive." Tom nodded. "I know." Girl continued. "We've watched you. Watched the creature. You've changed the way we see humans." Tom replied, "We were never weak. You just never gave us a chance." Girl looked serious. "Many species are afraid, not of the beast, but of what it means. If humans can bond with something so wild, what else can you do?" Tom leaned forward. Is that not what the alliance was built for? To learn from each other, to grow together. Grow paused. Then he nodded slowly. Yes. But we must also keep balance. Power brings fear, and fear brings conflict. I don't want power, Tom said. I just want respect. Grill stood. You've earned it. That night, Tom returned to Shade. He sat beside him and placed his hand on the thick black fur. They're changing, Tom whispered. They're starting to see us. Shade let out a soft breath and closed his eyes. More days passed. Tom was invited to speak at schools, at meetings, and even at open sessions in the council. He never spoke with pride. He spoke with calm truth. He told them about the storms, about hunger, about pain, about fear. But most of all, he spoke about trust. How do you make a beast obey? Someone once asked. You don't, Tom replied. You make him feel safe. You walk beside him. Not in front of him, not behind him, but with him. That answer became famous. Other humans started to arrive on different research missions. Now, they were no longer seen as weak. They were seen as brave, as smart, as patient. Some tried to find creatures like Shade, but none returned with one. Because it wasn't about finding the beast. It was about becoming someone the beast could trust. Tom never left Shade's side. He refused all offers to sell data or give DNA. He said one thing to everyone who asked. He's not mine. He's my friend, people. Listen. And in time, they believed. Tom woke early in the soft light of Zoran Prime's station. The day was quiet, but his mind was full. Things were changing fast. More people were curious about Shade. Many wanted to meet the golden-eyed beast. Some wanted to study him. Others wanted to ask Tom questions. He knew this was a new kind of challenge. Shade lay close by, watching Tom with calm eyes. He was calm now, but the new attention could cause trouble. Tom had seen fear in some eyes. Fear can turn to hate quickly. Tom sat up and touched Shade's. For softly, we have to be ready. Not everyone will understand. Shade gave a low sound, like a quiet growl, but it was calm. They were a team. Later that day, Tom walked with Shade through the station's public area. People stopped and stared. Some whispered. Tom smiled gently. He wanted to show them Shade was safe. A small crowd formed. A young boy stepped forward. He looked scared, but brave. Is he dangerous? The boy asked. Tom shook his head. No, Shade saved my life. He is gentle if you are kind. A woman in the crowd stepped closer. She was a scientist. We want to learn how this bond formed. Can you teach us? Tom looked at Shade. The beast sat quietly. This is not a trick or science alone. It is trust. It grows over time. It cannot be forced. The scientist nodded slowly. We want to understand, not harm. Tom agreed. Then we can try. Over the next weeks, Tom helped the scientists. They watched how Shade behaved. They asked questions. Tom showed how he spoke with Shade without words, how he waited for Shade to choose. Some of the scientists tried to copy Tom's gentle way, but Shade did not respond the same. He trusted only Tom. One day, a new visitor came, a man from a distant world. He was a hunter and had studied many wild creatures. He looked at Shade with cold eyes. This beast is dangerous. It must be controlled or destroyed. Tom stood firm. Shade is not dangerous. He is my friend. The hunter smiled. You are lucky now. But what if Shade changes? What if he attacks? Tom looked at Shade. The beast's eyes met his. They shared a silent promise. No, Tom said. Shade will not harm anyone who does not threaten us. The hunter sneered. Then prove it. Tom said, we don't need to prove anything with violence. Trust is the strongest proof. The hunter laughed and left. That night, Tom wrote in his log. Day 180. Fear still exists. Some see Shade as a threat. Others see him as a miracle. We must keep showing kindness. We must keep walking together. Shade lay beside him. Tom placed his hand on Shade's fur and felt its warmth. Days passed with more visits. Some people brought animals for Shade to meet. Shade watched, but stayed calm. He did not attack. He did not growl. He only observed. Tom taught others how to approach Shade. Slowly, quietly, with respect. One afternoon, an accident happened. A small child wandered too close to Shade. The child tripped and cried out. Shade stood up quickly but did not move toward the child. Tom rushed over and took the child's hand. "Shade won't hurt you," Tom said softly. The child looked at Shade and smiled. Shade lowered his head gently. The child touched Shade's fur and laughed. The crowd watching gasped in surprise. From that day, more people started to believe, not only in Tom and Shade, but in the power of trust. Tom spoke at meetings and schools about his time on Grelth. He told stories of storms, danger, and fear. But most of all, he spoke of friendship. "How do you survive alone on a wild planet?" a teacher asked. Tom smiled. "You don't survive alone. You find a friend." Shade gave a soft breath beside him. The council watched closely. Some members still feared the bond. Others saw it as a chance. Girl called Tom again. "You have changed many minds, but not all. Some want to control the power you have found." Tom nodded. "Power is dangerous when used with fear, but with kindness, it can heal." Girl smiled. "You are wise. We will support your work. But be careful." Tom bowed slightly. "Thank you." The work continued. Tom and Shade became symbols of hope, proof that humans could be more than expected, that even on the wildest planet, trust could grow. Tom often thought back to the first day he met Shade in the dark forest on Grelth. From fear to friendship, from danger to peace. He whispered one night, "We walked through fire and storm together, and we made it." Shade's golden eyes shone and ass checked. The large hall was filled with light from the tall windows. Many faces from different worlds looked toward Tom. They were there to hear his final words, to learn from the human who returned with a beast that obeyed him. Tom stood calm. Shade sat quietly by his side. The golden eyes of the beast watched the crowd, but there was no fear, only respect. Tom began. "I came to Grelth not to win, not to fight, but to survive, alone. The planet was cruel, the storms were loud, and the creatures were wild. But then I met Shade, a creature not like others." He looked down for a moment, then up again. "Shade did not obey because I forced him. He obeyed because I earned his trust. I treated him as a friend, as a partner." The crowd listened closely. Tom smiled softly. "We are not so different, humans and creatures like Shade. We both want safety, respect, and friendship." He paused, then continued. "The council sent me to die. They thought I was weak, but I returned stronger, because I learned the most important lesson. Respect is stronger than fear." Shade stood beside him and gave a low sound. It was soft, but clear. Tom looked at him and said, "He is my companion, my protector, and my friend." A leader from the Varn species stood up. "Your story has changed many minds. We once feared humans were weak, but you have shown courage and wisdom. You have shown us the power of trust." Another voice added, "We must learn from this, not only about humans, but about living in harmony with all beings." Tom nodded. "Yes, this is the start, a new way for all of us." After the meeting, many came forward to greet Tom and Shade. They offered hands of friendship, some brought gifts, others asked questions. Tom answered each with patience and hoped. The young child from before came again. She smiled and touched the glass near Shade gently. Shade responded with a soft look. The child laughed. Tom watched and smiled. "It is the little things that bring us together," he said. Days passed, and Tom and Shade were invited to many places. They became symbols of a new alliance, one based on respect, trust, and understanding. But Tom never forgot Grelth, the wild planet where he had been sent to die. He spoke often about it. "The planet is harsh," he said, "but it taught me the most important thing, that kindness can survive anywhere." Shade stayed close. He was no longer just a beast of the wild. He was part of a story that would change many worlds. One quiet evening, Tom and Shade stood outside under the stars. The air was cool and calm. Tom looked up and whispered, "This is just the beginning, Shade. A new beginning." Shade looked up too. The golden eyes reflected the stars. Tom smiled. "No matter what comes next, we face it together." Shay gave a soft sound of agreement. Together, they walked back inside. The future was uncertain, but full of hope. For Tom, the human, sent to die, the return with a beast that obeyed him was not the end. It was the start of a new journey,